We're joined today by Dolores Romero Morales, who's going to give us a really interesting talk on AI and OR. So I'm going to start with a sort of a gentle introduction. If people have been to one of our War Round sessions before, will know that I give a little bit of an overview of War Round. So just to introduce myself, so I'm Catherine Kent and I'm chair of the War Round. And as part of War Round, we put on monthly online events, which is with the objective to support women in OR, build our networks, and learn new things. As I said, most of our events are online, but we do have some face-to-face events, which brings me on nicely to our next event, which is actually an in-person event. So for those of you who've heard of Euro, so Euro is coming to the UK. It will be in Leeds. And before, at the start of Euro, Wisdom is our sort of sister women's network. They'll be running a session, and all invited to attend. You don't need to be coming to Euro to attend, but they are limited on spaces. So if you are interested in coming along, it'd be great to see people. That will be on the Sunday afternoon. And I will be there, so it'd be good to see some of you there in person. And if you can't make that one, don't worry, we'll be back to our usual plan of online events subsequently. With our next one in September. If you got this invite via other networks, you might have seen our new LinkedIn post to get access to this. The easiest way to get access to any future events is by joining our War Round mailing list. If you've got a function on your phone and you want to scan that QR code, that'll take you to our page on the OR Society where you can sign up and also find out a bit more about us there. Usually our events are at this time, which is 1:30 to 2:30, and it's usually the third Thursday in the month. But if it deviates from that, we'll let people know. So we're going to do some polls. This will help us find out a little bit more about who's here today and find out a little bit more about you. So I'm hoping Karen will be able to launch the polls. So the first question is about where do you work, academia or not, or whether you're retired or a student. And we have a second question as well, which is all about AI and machine learning, which is the subject of our talk today. So do you use AI or machine learning or large language models in your work and studies, with options for yes a lot, yes a little, or no? And I can already see the results. I don't know if other people can. No one else can. Excellent. So Karen, if you share the results then to sort of see where we are, and hopefully this will help Dolores as well. Half of us are outside of academia in terms of like probably working in industry, government. For few, we have one student among us, which is great. And on the using AI, predominantly yes is the answer, and mix between yes a lot and yes a little. So that's encouraging. So hopefully this is going to be a high level talk. So hopefully you get lots out of it today. So at that point, I'll introduce Dolores. So Dolores is originally from Spain, but she's worked and lived all over the world, including the Netherlands, the UK, and Denmark. She's got an impressive body of research and teaches several MSc and MBA courses. She's an active member of Wisdom, which is the European equivalent of our War Round group. And she's involved in a lot of other activities. She's active in ensuring that the links between OR and AI and machine learning are made as visible as possible, including via influential series of webinars about which she'll go into in more detail. Before I hand over to Dolores, just as a note, on the screen you'll see another QR code. This is for the feedback form. So you might want to scan that now, so you've got it ready for the end of the talk. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Dolores to share her slides and begin her presentation. Thanks.
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to Catherine, Ruth, and Karen for organizing this. I'm very happy to be here, especially because, as has been said, I'm an active member of the sister Wisdom, and it's good to be talking today here. My presentation starts with a little bit about me. Catherine has already said that I have lived together with my family in a few places. So I come from the south of Spain, from Seville, and I did mathematics, and obviously with OR being at the center of my studies, operations research, which in Spain goes together with the statistics. So that's my specialization. And I went to the Netherlands to do my PhD, to Erasmus, and then from there, after having a position in Maastricht, which is another Dutch city, I spent 11 years in the UK. So it's actually quite nice to be back today online with you. These 11 years are very meaningful for many, many, many reasons. A very important one is that my 2 children were born there while I was going through my academic ladder. And in a few slides from now, actually, you will see them. So it means that, they were born there. We did, my husband is also an academic, so we spent beautiful years there, and then we moved to Denmark, and we have been again 11 years over here. And they are back to the UK to study there for university. So one of them and the second one will go in a bit there. I'm also we'll be talking about what we do, not only in terms of research, but also in terms of, giving publicity to the research that is done between OR and machine learning. And you will see online the seminar series that we run, a few of us. It has been said that I'm a member of Wisdom, and just to make sure that you understand that I need to do things that basically it's also enjoyable outside academia, although I love academia very much. So one of them is about cooking. So you will see me posting a lot in social media about my croquettes. So these are over there. And then I'm a true fan of my team back in Seville, Betis, and you probably recognize in the UK the other symbol, and we will be playing the final in a couple of weeks from now. So now let me tell you a little bit about our research. I say our research because I work in a large team of people, some of them back in Seville, PhD students across, Seville, across Copenhagen. I have also supervised a couple of them in the UK. So it's a large network of people that are working on these topics. And I have called it responsible AI. These names, they keep changing. So you can talk about trustworthy, you can talk about many terms. But the important thing is that, you know, if you are using an algorithm to make decisions, the decisions, they need to be taken in such a way that they don't damage, say, the citizen, so the person to whom you are going to apply this algorithm. So this is what I will try to show you, a couple of screenshots of papers that we have written. As Catherine has said, I have tried to put it at a little bit of a higher level, but if you have very specific questions about research, I'm happy to take them offline. You will see that the contact details are on the slides. And of course, I would also be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So the point from which we will depart today is that when we talk about algorithms being fitted to data, we always think about the term accuracy. So we would like to make a prediction. Typical prediction would be whether you will be being a good payer of a loan that you would like to take in a bank. So the bank will run an algorithm and will decide whether you will be granted a loan or not. To make that decision, there is a prediction behind, which is, you know, what is the probability of you repaying that loan. And if that probability is high, you will be granted the loan. And if the probability is low, that you will be rejected. High and low depends on the bank. They will have a threshold, but there is a probability that we need to figure out. And we collect data, we ask questions to the individuals, and then we will try to give such a prediction. Now we have historical data. And then with that historical data, we build a model, and with that model, we get out from that model the probability. So that model is going to be accurate in the historical data. And, that's pretty much the objective of that model. And I talk about objective because we are here in an operations research community, so we have things to be optimized. So this is my first objective. I would like to be as accurate as possible. Well, if we think about a loan, actually that has been regulated for many, many, many years. And the regulation says that your model has to be transparent, and the regulators will be checking that. Actually, that transparency, I have a reference there for 2022, that transparency is actually being rolled out to many fields because of the growing impact of AI in society. So while there are clear examples from the past in which that transparency was required, nowadays we try to impose that transparency when decisions are basically having a large impact on individuals. Some people talk about high stakes decision making. So then now we have a second objective, right? Because we want to be transparent. So I will show you in a couple of slides from now how we basically trade off these two objectives. Actually, you see in red a third objective, which is fairness, and you will probably have seen many articles in media saying, that the AI can have a negative impact on individuals, and I will bring to you several of these screenshots, and then we will talk how we can deal with this third objective. As I said, there are regulations being rolled out. In the European Union, you have this AI Act, and actually the European Union started a center for algorithmic transparency. This center is actually located in my hometown in Seville, and they opened a couple of years ago. and they are trying to basically do monitoring of big tech companies and the algorithms that they are using. Now, when we talk about transparency, I have to say that this depends on who is the user. So is the user somebody with certain knowledge about data science and certain knowledge about machine learning? Well, maybe the user is okay with a random forest. Is the user, say, somebody with little quantitative training, so then maybe that person will be happier to see a tree, a simple tree, in which, you know, decisions are made. Yeah. So depending on the level of quants, some things will be more transparent or less transparent, but I think there is a common agreement that deep learning will be something acting as a black box. So because there are so many transformations, so much data, so many layers, so that would be difficult to understand. So you wouldn't have a deep learning model, say, to make decisions that are regulated like the ones I was talking about above. And just to be clear, even if you are using a model that in principle is transparent, I said to you that a tree is something that people consider to be transparent with if-then rule, you know, your temperature is high or low. Yeah, so simple things. These mechanisms start to lose transparency if they are big. So if I have a decision tree that is very, very deep with 50, depth 50, so that's not going to be transparent anymore because the rules are going to be very complex. Yeah. So that's what I talk quite a bit when I go to conferences. I show people, you know, how you can deal with this transparency, this accuracy, this fairness by using a multi-objective optimization. So you are optimizing several objectives, so you have trade-offs, and the ideal would be, and this is what happens sometimes, the ideal will be that I can lose very little accuracy, yeah, and then I can gain a lot of transparency. And that sometimes we can show that empirically, not theoretically, but empirically we see that actually, yeah, there is a kind of a flat area, you know, in which you maintain almost your accuracy and your transparency, it gains a lot, yeah. So this slide that I'm showing to you is the Financial Times. I like to use the Financial Times in my teaching, and you can see that this screenshot is from 2017. And why do I have this screenshot over here? It's because around that time, people started to use the word XAI, explainable artificial intelligence. And that was coined by the US Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, so in short, DARPA, and you can see it there. So actually, they were organizing a lot of workshops with people from many areas. I was invited to one of them, and there will be people from biotech, there will be finance people, so nothing to do with defense. I mean, of course, there were people from defense there, but people from, say, many different backgrounds thinking in these workshops about how to enhance explainability. So if you talk to students doing some data science, they will know for sure align, they will know for sure sharp, they will know all these keywords, you know, of things in which you can enhance the explainability of your machine learning model. So these are second layer that you put to your machine learning model. So you construct first the model, and in a second layer, you try to enhance the transparency. So just to say that there are many of these tools. plenty of these tools available out there in whatever statistical package that you use. So what we do in our research is we try to see whether we can embed transparency and fairness directly into the training of our machine learning model, because then we really have full control of the trade-offs. Here, with these tools, you don't, because it's a two-step. So you build your model, which is very accurate, and then you explain the output of that model. So 2 steps. We like to put these 2 steps together and then try to see whether we can do that in an efficient way. But for sure, the good thing about the approach that we follow, I don't want to say our approach, because this is the approach of other research teams, but that approach means that you can control directly the trade-off. And that's what we do in operations research, a lot of time, trade-offs. So let me show you here, just as I said, a few screenshots, and then hopefully you will see how we do things. So as I have written there, you have data. Then we try to build a model, and then the decision will be made. So just to rewind, we have data, for instance, from previous loans, and then the bank will construct a transparent and an accurate model to make decisions about the loan. So I hope I still have everybody with me. So what is one way of making things more transparent? So I hope that you see on the left of my slide, I hope that you see a tree that it goes, say, deep. I'm not saying very deep because otherwise it wouldn't fit my slides, but it's deep, yeah? What do I do? No, not me. My our PhD, former PhD student, Senior. So she defended last year. So what does she do? Instead of having such a deep model to build clusters, what she does is to compact the clusters and explain them with, you can see 3 variables there, yeah? So tax, induce, and NOx, yeah? So she has 3 variables, and with these 3 variables, she constructs very short explanations to the clusters, as opposed to the very long explanations to the clusters if you were to use the tree. So basically what she has done is, can I explain this with very short rules? And empirically, her answer was yes. So, and why do I talk about rules? People think that rules are transparent, yeah? When I had my children at nursery, if the child had more than 38, you know, probably the child was going to be sent home, back home. So people use these kind of rules in a lot, basically, in practice. Okay, so let me show you another way in which we try, and I continue with the theme of rules because, as I said, people like rules. So in this case, we are making decisions with the model at the left. What is the model at the left? That's what people call an additive tree model. So you have probably heard about random forests. I mentioned them before. What is a random forest? It's a model that takes decisions with a lot of trees. So it's not insightful anymore because it's not one single tree. It's a collection of trees. So it's a bit more difficult to understand how it's functioning. So what do we do? Our research question in this paper is, can I replace all these trees on the left with one single tree? And empirically, our answer is again, yes, we can. And we did this with another PhD student with colleagues in La Sapienza, Cecilia Salvatore. And then what she does is she tries to construct one single tree. But that tree is what we call optimal. So nowadays we have bigger computers, we have more developments in optimization and so on. So the trees that you see on the left, they are greedy. They are constructed by optimizing locally. The tree that you see in the middle, that one is optimal. So for the whole entire tree. So when you see the rules chosen there, the rules have been chosen globally as opposed to locally. And that makes things, say, compact, which is good for us because we have a shorter tree, and a shorter tree is something more transparent. Good. I show you, oh, sorry. I show you this third study, and actually, to me, this is a very beautiful one. They are all beautiful, but this one is with a PhD student, former PhD student from Colombia. She's now working here in Denmark with in a company. So this paper, and I will explain what this paper is doing. She applied this algorithm to say study the dropout in Colombia, in her region in Colombia, Antioquia. So there are many kids dropping out from school. And what she was trying to do is trying to find, say, early. She was trying to find early enough whether they would drop out or not. And she would give, the region would give incentive. So actually the incentives were in a form of giving bicycles. So giving bicycles such that, yeah, for the kid, it was a nice thing to do, but actually indirectly it was also to make shorter the travel to school. And these bicycles, basically, there was a small knapsack problem to be solved to basically give those bicycles to the people who need it with more urgently. And the urgency, it was the dropout. So I hope you follow me in this resource allocation problem. So, okay, so now we go to what is transparency for us. And you forgive me because my network is nothing to do with Colombia. Actually, my network is something to do, it's just for the purpose of the example, my network is something to do with countries in Europe. So imagine that you would have a machine learning model that needs to use as one of the variables, it's just one of them, would need to use the country of origin. And these are countries from the EU, as I said, and there are close to 30 countries over there. And then what we did, it was to say, okay, so if I have a variable country in a model, normally the machine learning models, they really need that variable country to model as 0, 1 variables, one for every country. So are you from Spain? Yes or not? Are you from Belgium? Yes or not? And so on. So then you have 30 columns. So one variable, 30 columns in your machine learning model. So imagine that you are running, say, a linear model, a simple regression. Then you have 30 coefficients. So our question has been for several years, do I really need these 30 coefficients, or can I model this in a more compact way? And I hope that you visualize from far away that basically I have, roughly speaking, 2 clusters of countries there, right? So I see a couple of countries to the left, and I see a big ball of countries to the right. One coefficient. With one coefficient in this data set is only enough, one coefficient, to say whether you belong to the cluster to the left or not. And then empirically, we show that instead of having all these coefficients to interpret, with only one coefficient, we can handle this information. So again, something that looked a little bit complex to be explained, 30 coefficients, now I need to explain only one coefficient. So now I'm going to show you another stream of research. This is more recent, so this is what people call counterfactual explanations. So we had a PhD student who defended also last year working on this idea. So what are we doing here? I don't know whether you have heard about the concept of counterfactual explanation, but let's stick with a long example. So you go to the bank and they run the model, and then there is a rejection. So there is this right to algorithmic decision making, meaning that in principle, under EU regulation, you have the right to get an explanation to that decision. So then it means that they have to give you a reason why you got rejected. I guess it's an easy to understand example. And this is basically what a counterfactual explanation does. So what do we mean by a counterfactual explanation? Well, Dolores goes to the bank, she gets a rejection, and they are going to say to her, well, if you would be, say, having less debt at the bank, or if you would manage to increase your income, or we had to reject, sometimes it happens. Sometimes the gender variable makes unfortunately, your credit score look different. So things like that, right? So you give, say, another individual. It's a individual that is the counterfactual individual, and that individual is close to Dolores, but that individual, if you run it through the algorithm, it will get the loan. So that's a counterfactual explanation. It's another instance. So I'm an instance in my data set. In the data set, I got rejected, but this counterfactual instance will get accepted. And obviously there is an optimization problem here, because I told you that that instance has to be close to me. So actually we are sort of, say, minimizing how far the distance is from my features, right? So I don't really want the counterfactuals to say that I need to increase my salary by 50%. That's not achievable, right? So you try to say minimize the distance to the counterfactual, and you try to optimize to maximize the probability of the counterfactual instance of getting the loan. So I hope that you realize that we have again, objectives to optimize. So what is beautiful about this paper is that we took a step further. And what we did, it was to say, well, what if in this room I saw that we were about 30 plus people. So what if we try to run this counterfactual to all of us? And what if we try to learn about these counterfactuals? what if we try to learn what is relevant to the model? So actually what we did, it was to derive a new way of measuring what are the relevant features, not only from Dolores, but from Ruth, from Catherine, from Karen, from everybody, all together. So we try to see what are the key features from us that will basically matter to the algorithm. And that's something very, very important in explainability. People always like to know, what is feature importance. So an algorithm, it's maybe very, very not transparent, but at least if you tell me what are the relevant features, I will understand a little bit more. So feature importance metrics, they are very popular. So that's what we are doing over here. We are creating an innovative way of measuring the feature importance. And I don't want to spend more time, but we did it also for, say, measuring efficiency. And this efficiency is rather important when you think about the efficiency of hospitals or the efficiency of schools and things like that. But for the sake of time, I'm going to move on. So then we come here to the fairness, and I just want to say a couple of more words to say that this is important, and actually there is plenty of literature at the moment coming about fairness in machine learning. And I will show you one slide in which you can see how we are doing this at the moment. I'm just going to pick up one example. So the example, for instance, of Amazon, and I guess you can read from the slides that, HR analytics, a lot of people are using AI in HR analytics. So the AI is seeing, that a lot of, say, CVs are from one gender. And then the machine learning algorithm is learning, that, well, maybe it's only that gender that matters towards HR analytics. I mean, that's can happen if you basically, if the human doesn't intervene in the construction of the algorithm. And that's also what I tell my students. I mean, never, never, never leave the algorithm, although I love them, because that's what I do for my life, but never leave the algorithm without you checking, because you are the one having the knowledge about the setup, right? I can give you another example from one of our PhD students. So it's about income. And then you can see that the income distribution is shifted. So one gender tends to earn less than the other gender. And then people say, oh, well, let's just remove the information about the gender. It shouldn't be included. Well done. But it's indirectly through correlations in the rest of the variables. One gender works fewer hours on average than the other one, because they have duties at home and they have part-time jobs, etc., etc. So you remove the variable that you think is creating unfairness, but it's hidden there through correlations in the other variables. Yeah. So you really have to be very careful. That's what I tell my students. Yeah. Because that a wrong algorithm built under the wrong assumptions can be very harmful. I don't have a lot of time, but if you are very curious and you will have this, because you will have the recording, just read about this algorithm in the Netherlands. Is again very damaging for part of the population. Good. This is another way for you to visualize unfairness. So you have the Compass data set. It's very well known in the literature on fairness. So basically, you are trying to see whether you will give parole to people or not. So it's using these features that you have over here. And then what you want to know is whether you would like to predict whether there will be say, recommitting crimes or not. If you predict that that probability is low, then you will give parole. But if that probability is high, you will not give parole. And I guess that you can see over there that, you know, if you are African American, you have 33 percentage of false negative rate. So they predicted wrongly on you. And for white, that's much smaller. So, of course, if I forget about that piece of information, then you think, oh, well, I have built the most accurate algorithm that I could. But maybe you can shift some of the false negative to the other, to the less sensitive group, because the accuracy is going to be the same. You know, it's just where do you want to put this false negative rate? Yeah. So it's very, very important that you don't look at one metric, that you really look at different metrics. So accuracy is not enough. Maybe you have to study your entire matrix of accuracies. So how do we do this fairness? I didn't bring any paper because this is actually under review, so that you can see that actually some of this research is very recent. I hope that you see on the left two distributions. So I will have, say, the protected and the non-protected groups. So there is a, in the previous slide, it will be the African Americans that I want to protect, because I see that the false negative rate is quite large compared to the white false negative rate. So I guess you see that the protected group, when I'm predicting income, it's shifted to the low values, while if I look at the non-protected one, I see higher values, right? So higher, better. So the protected group has less appealing predictions, if you like. So what we try to see is, can I make these distributions closer to each other without harming the accuracy of my algorithm very much? So again, trade-offs. If I do that, if the two distributions are closer to each other, then under the same conditions, so two individuals with similar features, they just differ on the race, or they just differ on the gender, or they just differ on whatever sensitive feature you have, they will get similar predictions. That's what you want. That would be a fair algorithm. Good. I was also asked not to talk only about research, but to talk a little bit about how I manage my academic life. If my husband would be here, he would tell you that I manage by sometimes by spending too many hours. So I'm not sure that I'm a good example for the audience here. But anyway, let me show you what I do outside papers. And let me have one slide in which I say something about what I have learned. Well, the first thing is that, you know, for me, I have two children and a husband. The husband is the photographer, but I also consider my co-authors part of my family. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to do what we do, in my opinion. I don't think in academia we have a 9-to-5 job. So yeah, they do a lot of things with us. So this is actually Walter Street in Oxford, and this is after organizing a workshop on combinatorial optimization. And these two are in Edinburgh. She's in Madrid, he's in Seville, and she's in the south of Spain too. So that's So you can see that actually my institution has basically defined objectives. So we follow something called READ model. So when we have to get promotion, when we have to get new people, we follow this model. And you can see that we have 5 objectives. I believe that they are going to add a 6th one. So it's very difficult to put a weight, a high weight in each of them, because you know the sun should be one. So the day has 24 hours, and you know, I learned when I was in the UK. I learned that maybe you do this, but it does not count much towards your promotion to reader, or your promotion to full professor. So and this is an important thing to think about. Your weights should be changing throughout your academic life, because at the beginning, unfortunately, people will be looking at your papers, and that's sadly the truth, because you also want to spend time, with other people and with the profession, doing things for them. I teach quite a bit in Copenhagen Business School, things to do with optimization, data science, and so on. But I like to organize things. You can see there to the left a PhD school that we organized a couple of years ago. I'm quite happy organizing things, and I must say that they tend to be for young people. I'm for instance, the PhD coordinator in my department, so I like that part. I guess I like to feel be surrounded by young people. I mean, funding is another thing that you saw on that slide. I've been quite lucky with this project to the right. It was quite of a big project, 15 organizations that I was coordinating. But to be honest, with that project, we got to start, for instance, an online seminar series and to organize modeling weeks and things like that, in which it was not only the benefit for us, but it was also, I want to believe that it was the benefit for outside the project. I told you that I'm quite active in giving a bit of visibility to the field of operations research slash AI. So this is online seminar series that we run actually for a long time, from 2021, but officially is a neuro online seminar series since October last year. So you have another QR code there if you want to basically be in our mailing list. Our last session is going to be next Monday with Georgina, and you have a picture there of the more than 30 speakers that we have. We have very senior speakers coming, but again, we like to work on giving visibility to the younger generations. So you will see some young faces over there. We were quite happy to celebrate the birthday of Euro. And so you can see the former president of Euro, Anita Schöbel, coming to celebrate with us. This is the picture of the 50th birthday. I'm also busy with editorial work. And what else? This is where I would like to end. I don't really want to put anything of advice. I was not the best example to follow when I started my career. We all want to write lots of papers, go to a lot of conferences. We get children, and then, you know, how do you manage all of that? I wasn't the best example to follow because I found it difficult to put a weight in all of them. But actually, you know, my children are now 18 and 20 years old. Yeah, they seem to have had fun since with her working mother. And the good thing that I feel nowadays is that with Warren, with wisdom, with warmth, with women in Elio, I feel so happy that we have these organizations that I think when I was younger, we did, I don't recall them. Maybe they were there, but I don't recall them. And I feel that it gives a forum in which, you know, we are there for each other. And people who know me a little bit, they will see me quite a lot in social media. Actually, a lot of people tell me that I spend too much time in social media. But it's because I like to post these kind of photos. I have many of them. I go around and I take photos of women in OR, and I keep posting them to give people as much visibility as we can, and to tell you that, you know, most of the things that we do is online, but sometimes we are all together. So yeah, there is where I would like to end. And by the way, I told you that I love football, so therefore this is why I have that sentence there. We are all together, and I think I wouldn't like to give you any advice, but, you know, by listening about the way that we all did it, maybe you can find examples that work for you. And with this, I would like to end by saying that I really hope to see each other in Leeds. And I thank again Warren for giving me this time. And I hope that, you know, the talk was at a level in which I could make you visualize what we do.
Great, thank you very much, Dolores. I'll just offer a reflection, and then we've got a question in the chat from Naomi. So my reflection is, I was really struck with how much OR you use in this sort of analysis. So it wasn't just the AI models and all of that, but when you were trying to simplify it or do more of the explainable stuff, how you were really exploiting the full like OR breadth of like different techniques, cluster analysis and all sorts of things, and always looking for alternative views on things to reduce the models. And that to me is very sort of OR in its nature. So that was my reflection.
Yeah, let me say that what I say to people when I present these things is that we get a data set, but the final representation of the data set is not there. There are many, I mean, data can be represented in many different ways. And unfortunately, the behavior or the misbehavior or the non-responsible behavior can be assigned, is related to what representation we have chosen. So we spent quite a bit of time on that area.
Thank you. So the question from Naomi, as well as giving you thanks for your interesting presentation, says that when balancing fairness in model outcome and accuracy, how do you persuade others with decisions you make with the model design? It is common for people to focus on accuracy and even reducing it slightly to increase fairness. How do you get people on board with that approach? I can imagine personally, like if it was related to making profits or things like that, it might be harder to get by.
Well, I think Naomi has raised a very good point, because it's not only because of the profit, it's also that people think that, you know, if I have historical data, the data speaks and I should not correct the data. So if I have historical data in which one gender has been able to do whatever less work because there were less equality when sharing the work and so on, should I then be amplifying that effect? So I mean, I'm in a eco department, so I get many times that question, you know, I shouldn't be changing the message that the data is giving us. And I say, well, I'm giving you the whole trade-off. The trade-off in which you do nothing to the data and you only care about accuracy, and all the way to dropping the accuracy because I want to be more fairness. If I show you that there is a flat area, which I should have brought with me today, but if I show you that there is a flat area, and then I improve dramatically the fairness, flat area in the accuracy, then it's telling you, you know, that there are different representations of the data, still accurate, but more fair towards one of the groups. So how do I persuade them? I cannot say that I persuade them, but one of the tools that we use is the full Pareto frontier. We don't have the full Pareto frontier, we have an approximation, but we always go around with that Pareto frontier. So that you say, I'm not trying to tweak the data to my advantage, but I'm showing you, you know, what is the huge gain in fairness without damaging too much your accuracy. That seems to be your goal. Yeah.
Great, thank
Sorry,
you.
I have a cold, so.
No, that's great. We are actually out of time. But if people have questions, you had your contact details. So I think, and you said you're absolutely happy for people to contact you with any specific questions. So I think we'll just round off by thanking you for joining us today and all your work you do in supporting women in OR and pushing boundaries in OR and analytics more generally. Yes, great. And I will see you at Euro and hopefully see some of you face to face, if not online at our next event in September. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye.
Thank you. That was really good. Thanks very much.
Well, I will see you in Leeds. Thank you.
See you in Leeds.